Scotland blocked from holding independence vote by UK's Supreme Court. I'm hardly surprised in the slightest. It'll be interesting to see what happens next. Scottish Government. What about IndyRef? UK Supreme Court, you've already had it. Scottish Government. We've had one, yes. What about second IndyRef? Quebec don't think they know about second IndyRef. Oh, I'm sure they'll respond to that by giving up entirely. Good effort. Q. How do you piss off a Scotsman? I tell him he's not allowed to do something. DK Divided Kingdom. DK Divided Kingdom is here. Trying to change the system from within always works. This was a given, to be honest. The election result will be used as a barometer of their mandate. Obviously, the whole of Britain should be having an election morally, but we are all going to be forced to wait. I think for people who want to leave, it will make them more determined, but the issue isn't cut and dry. I personally don't want Scotland to leave the Union. I think it will be a bad move for all involved, but I believe in self-determination, and I hope that, if the SNP get a strong mandate, it goes to a referendum. I would be very sad to see Scotland leave, though. Nicola's own lawyers knew what the outcome would be but declined to rule on the situation, thus forcing the ruling onwards to Westminster, knowing full well what the result would be. Just another excuse to blame Westminster when the ruling came back. No. Politics at its best. I love when Americans show the entirety of their knowledge of Scotland and England is based on the movie Braveheart. I mean, this is quite a misleading title. The Supreme Court hasn't blocked anything. They were asked a point of clarification as the arbitrator of constitutional matters relating to the Union to the effect of whether the Scottish Parliament had the power to call a referendum on its own. They state as per legislation it doesn't. The SNP argument of self-determination was looked at, but as the Scottish people have access to government and don't meet the definition of an oppressed people, it doesn't hold up to international law in their unanimous opinion. Brexit created the inevitable end of the UK. I love all the comments from Americans who can't tell you the difference between the UK, Great Britain, England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, giving their expert opinions on this. For any Americans who are overly invested in this topic, I would remind you that your own country not only fought the bloodiest war in its history against the principle of secession, it then confirmed in the Supreme Court that there is no right to secede without the federal government's permission in Texas v. Wide. It is completely normal for a Western democracy to insist on its right to territorial integrity and to not accept a right to unilateral secession. Pretty cynical move by the SNP. There was absolutely no legal case for this, but the optics of being told no by the Supreme Court are a good way to drum up support. This isn't surprising news. The SNP were prepared for this outcome. Look, you Scots have to understand, Westminster is just being consistent here. It's a matter of principle. The UK simply does not stand for randomly quitting political unions. It's not done. This won't backfire at all. Why do the Scots want independence? Full disclosure, I'm a Yank, but it's my understand they have a lot of devolved power, plus the economic fallout would be Brexit x 100. Can't we have a referendum to eject Scotland from the UK, and be done with it once and for all? Clickbait title: The court is blocking the Scottish National Party from demanding another referendum by themselves. They ruled that another referendum would need the consent of the rest of Parliament like the first one did. That surely will end well. As a Scotsman, so to be absolutely clear, no legal course to hold a referendum. No effective democratic way to demonstrate the Scots will to hold a referendum. What's left? Just to accept we are subservient to Westminster leaders who we didn't vote for. Cool, totally reaffirms my democratic faith in our institutions. The court didn't block it, they ruled the Constitution did. Why don't Scottish people require independence? Or do they? I am a bit ignorant about this particular issue. Can anybody give me some info? Scottish people are probably wishing they had voted yes when they had the chance, huh? They can do that? Huh? Realistically, what happens if they just do it anyway? I agree with the UK. The London government has been more than reasonable in allowing multiple referenda. It's not realistic to just keep having vote after vote after vote. Scotland has no particular consensus in favour of independence, and that's a fact. Those in favour of independence must prepare to accept that fact rather than trying to exhaust the patience of the people of Scotland and the government in London hoping that the numbers are different the next time. I am so fucking tired of hearing about this shit. Emo, give the bastards independence and let them deal with the fallout. Also, fuck Sturgeon and her dumbass haircut. Just have a non-binding referendum. Apparently that counts anyway these days. Doesn't this happen every 2 years or so? That place is super bipolar and I hope this time they actually do vote for what they want, and if it doesn't work out then agree to shut the fuck up about it for at least 3 years lol. I just don't understand why Scotland wants to be disconnected from its economic lifeblood and become utterly unimportant on the world stage. They have been united for centuries. The Scottish independence movement was a Russian psyop from the get-go. I think there should be a referendum, and it should include everyone in the UK, not just the Scottish. I can guarantee that if the English are in the poll, then Scotland will get independence. Independence from the union created by a Scottish king? Yeah, checks out. Scottish government blocked from holding another referendum. Fix the headline for you. Sturgeon is just the Scottish version of Nigel Farage, whine until she gets what she wants. A lot of people here don't realise that Scotland leaving the UK is just a even worse version of Brexit, and look how bad that was. Telling people they can't do something definitely makes them want to do it less, always.